Deputy O'Loughlin.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, and can I commend the Labour Party for introducing this bill, and indeed to Senator Ivana Bacik for all the work that she has done in the Seanad in relation to this, and also my own colleague, Senator Lorraine Clifford-Lee and Sonia Lennon, who have done a huge piece of work in relation to bringing this to the businesses that we need to talk about, because there's no point in us here in the Dáil chamber or our colleagues in the Seanad chamber talking about this. We need the businesses that are out there to actually take this on board and to stop talking about it but put practical realities in action. And when we're talking about equal pay, obviously equal pay for equal work has to be the cornerstone of any just and fair society, and I am very conscious that while we're talking about this, of the pay disparity that exists, particularly between teachers who started after a particular year, and that's absolutely wrong as well. I think one of the most worrying aspects of recent research into the gender pay gap is the fact that the gap is now widening for younger women, when at this stage it absolutely should be narrowing. And progress is certainly being made in other areas of gender equality, but not, it would seem, in terms of pay. And that's why government intervention is absolutely essential. The strategies, the consultations, the reviews, the symposiums have not worked. So the government has to support this bill, and I note, Minister, that you're saying that you're not opposing it, but I absolutely think that you should be supporting it as opposed to being neutral about it, which is what you have just said, as this is absolutely an important step in terms of pay equality. And this legislation that has been introduced will compel employers with over 50 staff to publish their information relating to employee pay, as already exists in the UK and indeed in Australia. And it needs to be also supported by improved childcare provision, improved shared parental leave as proposed in the legislation brought forward by myself and my colleague Deputy Lisa Chambers, and by increasing the number of women in better paid roles and occupations. This bill has been described as a diagnostic rather than a curative measure. To solve the problem, however, we first need to gather all the necessary information to assist in public policy formation, and this information can then be used by the Human Rights and Equality Commission. Ireland continues to hold a ranking of 25th place on an international league table of overall female economic empowerment, and our latest figures say that the gender pay gap is 13.9%, which, as my colleague on this side of the House says, that basically women are working 1 month a year for free. Our boardrooms have an 18% female participation rate compared to 22% in the UK and 34% in France, and as usual, the Nordic countries are leading the way. Progress has been excruciatingly slow in addressing the pay gap and the lack of gender diversity on boards. Ireland is one of the worst performers in Europe in terms of gender balance on corporate boards. Half of all state boards are still failing to meet the 45% minimum target set in 2014. Young Irish women are constantly reading news stories about their favourite actors, musicians, celebrities fighting for equal pay in the worlds of music and film. And I think it's good that people are being upfront and being out there about their fight. And we, as their representatives, have to make sure that we try to ensure parity of pay for these young women in their own country. Great strides have been made to improve economic independence for women in Ireland in recent decades. Bold and aggressive policy changes were needed to achieve this, and the same approach should be taken to address the gender pay gap. We wouldn't accept different rates of pay on any other basis. If two people are doing the same job with the same level of experience, then they should be on the same salary. It is deeply disturbing that as women progress in their careers and gain experience, that their earning power drops to such a level that after 15 years they earn 28% less than their male counterparts. Shocking research from the UK shows that Ryanair is in the top 10 of those with the worst gender pay gap. Fianna Fáil, I am happy to say, as my colleague and lead in this, Deputy Jim O'Callaghan, will support this bill in an effort to progress the glacial pace at which pay equality is proceeding. Gurv Magat.